A federal government that opens our borders to cartels? A group of Republicans who campaign on securing the border, who run away in abject surrender, refusing to actually do it? That's the question before us right now. That's the question for every member of the Republican conference. I'm speaking to you. If you do not secure the border now, you are giving up any argument you have for the American people to put their faith in you. Will Republicans honor their campaign commitments to secure the border, yes or no? What I am seeing right now from my Republican colleagues does not give me faith that they will stand up in the breach, as did those men who stood on the wall at the Alamo. I am tired of words. Things are going to change in this body. If my Republican colleagues believe that they're going to be moving through relatively meaningless provisions, doing precious damned little for the very people who sent us here to change things, and they think that some of us are just going to go along for the ride, they are sorely mistaken. We will not. There will be no more games, as I saw unfold today on the floor of the House of Representatives, where lies and misrepresentations were made about legislation, specifically for personal reasons, to take down an amendment. An amendment, by the way, designed to ensure that the executive orders that are driving up inflation, that this majority said they wanted to expose out of the current president and our Democratic colleagues on the other side of the aisle, that they would exempt emergency executive orders, exempt national security-related executive orders, the very kinds of emergency executive orders that have been killing this country for as long as I can remember, and specifically for the last several years through the COVID pandemic and emergency responses. Executive orders forcing needles into the people's arms, and if they say no and they can't carry out their livelihoods, shrinking the labor supply, driving up the cost of goods and services by shutting down the greatest economy in the history of the world. My colleagues on this side of the aisle today ran away from actually holding the executive branch responsible. Why? For petty, personal, political reasons. That ain't gonna fly. That's not gonna be the way this works. Leadership is something that is observed and followed. It is not an anointed position. We did not come to this chamber to continue to allow the executive branch to run over the American people, where sitting today is a young man who served his country and is being denied his commanding officer job, being forced to try to pay back student loans because he dared to say no to a vaccine mandate that was politically driven. And what is this side of the aisle doing about it? Not a damned thing. What is this side of the aisle doing about open borders? Nothing. Nothing. What is this side of the aisle doing about an ATF rule about to make felons out of 10 million Americans or more? Nothing. What is this side of the aisle going to do about spending? Lip service. We have a debt ceiling approaching. We're running around like chickens with their heads cut off. We should say something right now. We should pass a bill off this floor saying that we will raise the debt ceiling, but only if you end the disastrous student loans that are going to cost $400 billion and drive up the cost of higher ed. Only if you rescind the $91 billion of unobligated COVID money. Only if you go rescind the $80 billion designed to increase the IRS to go after taxpayers, including, by the way, more often the poorest among us and minorities. Only if you will return spending to 2022 levels, getting our spending back to pre-COVID levels, and make sure that we cap spending so we stop funding the woke, weaponized bureaucracy that's going after the American people. Do that. Send that over to the Senate. Send that over to the Senate and make Chuck Schumer and the President of the United States choke on it. Because the American people want us to cut spending right now. They don't want us dilly-dallying around, going out to focus groups and talking to Frank Luntz to figure out what the hell we're going to do for the American people. But that is too often what this body does, and particularly this side of the aisle. We are not going to have 2 more years of the usual crap that this body continually engages in. No more spending money we don't have. No more allowing lawlessness. No more open borders. No more mandates killing the American people. No more mandates driving up the price of energy, subsidizing unreliable energy, driving up the cost of that energy. No more. $32 trillion of debt. Wide open borders causing little girls to get sold into the sex trafficking trade. New York Times finally wakes up and writes a story about it this week. What do? We pass a 3-page bill asking the Democrats to say, we'll give you reports on inflation, but not if there's emergency spending. Because everybody's got to have their precious emergency spending. Oh gosh, there's a hurricane, so who cares if it's inflationary that you dump $40 billion? Who cares if it's COVID and you dump $5 trillion out in the name of an emergency, crushing the greatest economy in the history of the world? No, we can't have a report like that. The American people are sick and tired of the same old, same old. And so far, 2 months into the 118th Congress, I'm not seeing a hell of a lot different than the same old, same old. The American people gave Republicans a majority. We ought to darn well use it. It is time to stand up for the American people. That time is now. That time is not tomorrow. That time is not after another retreat to go figure out how you're going to raise more money. That time is not after another retreat to go look at poll testing. Come down to the floor of the House of Representatives and stand up for the American people who sent you here, and stop playing games with the election certificate you were given to represent them.